The next thing which we will be looking is some of the inheritance capability. For example, this is a class which we have already defined, and we have to create a class called Advanced Calculator. So let's try to create this Advanced Calculator. Now before creating the class Advanced Calculator, I would like to import a library called math. So let's try to import it in a different line. So I will add a new line and I will remove this or move this part of the code. And let's try to call this math. So once we have added the math library, we will be exposed to a lot of mathematical operation which will be advanced in nature, which we are going to use out of the box in this class. So simple calculator, and this is basically an advanced type. So what we are going to define is we are going to change the square into factorial functions. So this comes into a little bit advanced maths. So this class will be dealing with all the functions which are related to advanced mathematics. Now one thing which we need to do or able to do is in our previous class we have some of the basic operation already covered. So in the class simple C_cal we have already defined some of the basic operation which are related to maths, which we have already defined. So in this case we want to take advantage of that. We don't want to really go into the trap where we will be creating or recreating the same piece of code again and again. We want to reuse that. So what we will basically do is copy this class name and just pass it while creating this class definition. So what will be happening is everything which is defined inside this class, all the methods and attributes will also be available inside this class, which is simple C_adv, which is advanced. So I can remove all these things as well. And in any case, if you also have a duplicate entry of an implementation, then the new implementation will be also considered. So let's try to run this. And the first thing which we will be seeing is the method dir. We will be passing the class name. And once we pass the class name here, you can see that you have the doc, the init, the module, cube, fact, multiplication, and square. So this is all the functions which are present in simple C_cal. And now we have a simple C_advanced calculation, which we will be able to perform. And we have very less line of code, but still the advanced class of operation has the more capability because it's just inheriting from the basic calculation class. So let's try to use some of the operation here. And the first is we need to create a object of advanced calculator and calculating class. And this is basically simple C, and I will be instantiating it with 5. So let's try to use obj name here, and we will be basically calling the method square. So what it will give is the square of 5, which is 25. We can also check with cube. It will give me 125. I can also use the factorial function, and the factorial function is basically, we have not defined it here. So the factorial function will be using math.factorial. Now, if you don't know how to use any library inside your Python program, then you can see the standard documentation of the Python. The version of the Python which we are using is 2.7. You can switch the documentation to 2.7, and you can see this is the math library. And from here, I can search about any of the libraries in Python. So if I just go into my library, changing the URL here, then you will be seeing all the documentation properly done. And you should go and look out this documentation. It's a wonderful documentation to get started. You will have lots and lots of library which you will be using in the project core and in the coming sections of advanced Python as well. So you should look out this part as well. So in this case, we have just imported a small library of math to do a factorial operation. And what we have to really write here is math.factorial, and then we will be passing the number which is self.number. So I will be using self.number1, which is the number attached to our class, and I will just compile this and also all the lines after it. So let's try to run this fact as well. So factorial of 5 is 120, which is been returned with the math library. And our simple C_advanced actually contains now all the attributes and methods of its base class, which is the class it is inheriting, and itself as well. So this was basically the object-oriented programming in Python. We have seen some of the basic syntax, understood about how to use object-oriented programming in Python, and also created a very simple form of calculator in form of class. Now in the next section, we will be summarizing the entire basic course of Python which we have covered so far. So let's go ahead and summarize what we have learned in this entire section.
Hey there, check out UI5CN for awesome hands-on courses on enterprise technologies like SAP and more. To watch similar videos, subscribe to UI5CN YouTube channel.